Hi sir, good morning po. So for today, we will be presenting the MOI basic competencies and our qualification is food and beverage services and C2 superseded. So we are from group 1 and I am Josephine Rose Alvara and my group mates are Joyce Dil Bumbita, Baal Jafel, Baldon, April Joy, and Kagamda Jomar. So let's come now to the our presentation. So from the first slide, as you can see the screenshot of our activity, which is the basic competency or the competency-based curriculum. And under the screenshot, we have the B as the module of instructions, which is the MOI. So under the unit of competency of the qualification of food and beverage services and C2 superseded is that one of the basic competency is lead workplace communication. So module title is leading workplace communication. The module descriptor under the unit of competency of lead workplace communication is this unit covers the knowledge, skills, and attitudes required to lead in the dissemination and discussion of ideas, information, and issues in the workplace. So, as you can see, and the nominal duration is 4 hours, and the summary of learning outcomes. So, under the first basic competency of which is the lead workplace communication. So under that, we have the learning outcomes, which is the communicate information about workplace processes. LO2 or the learning outcome number 2 is lead workplace discussion. LO3, identify and communicate issues arising in the workplace. So nakuha po namin siya, as you can see in the arrow, nakuha po namin siya sa training regulation po under our TR po. TR from the elements. So, yung elements po natin is under the TR is yun po yung naging learning outcomes po namin. So, from the learning outcomes of the first basic competencies is tatlo po yung element and yun po yung naging learning outcomes po namin that come up na naging tatlo po yung learning outcomes po namin. So let's come now to the details of learning outcomes. So the first learning outcomes, as I said before, earlier, is the communicate information about workplace processes. So as you can see po, the assessment criteria is under our TR or training regulation under the qualification of food and beverage services and C2 superseded it is from performance criteria. As you can see in the 1.1 is the appropriate communication method is selected. And as you can see in 1.2 or the number 2 in assessment criteria is multiple operation involving several topics. Areas are communicated accordingly. And number 3, questions are used to gain extra information wherein nakuha po namin siya sa performance criteria. So, let's come now to the content. So, saan nga po ba namin nakuha yung contents? So, nakuha po namin yung contents namin is required knowledge and attitude and required skills. And yes, under our training regulation, wala po siyang underpinning knowledge and skills, kundi po nakalagay po sa amin is required knowledge and attitude and required skills. So, yun po yung kinuha namin and nag-identify po kami the most suitable or appropriate contents or appropriate or required knowledge and skills for the learning outcomes. So, let's come now to the conditions. So, under the conditions, we have the non-verbal gestures, verbal, face-to-face, written, and alternate. So, saan po ba namin nakuha yung condition? So, nakuha po namin yung condition is under the range of variables. So, as you can see po in the arrow, naka-identify po yung mga range of variables. So, under that, we have the non-verbal gestures, verbal, face-to-face, two-way radio, speaking to groups, using telephone, written, and internet. So, yun po yung kinuha po namin, nag-identify lang po kami ng appropriate and suitable po na range of variables for the conditions. So, under po the methodologies, as you can see, we have the group discussion, role-playing, and brainstorming. So, under that, nakuha po namin siya sa section 3, sa basic competencies po, the methodology which we have the group discussion, role playing, and brainstorming. So nag copy paste lang po, and same with the assessment method sa section 3 din po siya ng training regulation po namin. Copy paste din po, which is the observation and interview. Come now to the learning outcomes number 2 under the first basic competency pa din po. So, the learning outcomes number 2 is lead workplace discussion. So, under the lead workplace discussion, we have the assessment criteria. So, same with the learning outcomes number 1, nakuha po namin yung assessment criteria po sa performance criteria ng under the training regulation po of food and beverage services, NC2 Superseded. So, doon lang po kami nag-base and kumuha po. So, under po sa contents din po, kinuha din po namin ito sa required knowledge and attitudes and required skills. So, as you can see, under the contents, we have the organization requirement for written and electronic communication methods. We have the effective verbal communications methods. And number 3 is organize information, and also we have the understand and convey intended meaning. And also we have the participate and variety of workplace and discussion, and so on. So nakuha po namin siya sa required knowledge and required skills po. So nag-identify lang po kami ng most suitable po under the contents. Come now to the conditions under the learning outcomes number 2. So, yung conditions po, sa range of variables po ulit po namin na nakita or na-identify sa under po sa training regulations po namin. So, we have the yung chosen conditions po namin or chosen the range of variables is verbal, face-to-face, speaking to groups, two-way radio, using telephone, and written. So under the range of variables of the TR, we have the non-verbal gestures, verbal, face-to-face, two-way radio, speaking to groups, and we have also the using telephone, written, and internet. So, under the methodologies, so nakuha po namin siya sa section 3 po ulit ng basic competencies. Under the lead workplace discussions, we have the methodology. So, kinapapaste lang po namin the group discussion, role play, and brainstorming. Same with the assessment methods po, which is the observation and interview. So, let's come now to the learning outcomes number 3. So, we have the identify and communicate issues arising in the workplace. So, under the assessment criteria, as I said, nakuha po namin siya sa training regulation po namin under po sa performance criteria po. So, yung contents po namin, nakuha po namin siya sa required knowledge and skills, which is the organization requirements for written and electronic communications methods. We have also the effective verbal communication methods, organize information, understand and convey intended meaning, and also we have participate and variety of workplace discussion. So, nag-identify lang po kami ng most suitable and appropriate contents po under the required skills and knowledge. So, let's come now to the conditions. So, the conditions is verbal, face-to-face, written, internet, and non-verbal gestures. So, nakuha po namin siya sa range of variables ng training regulation po namin. As you can see po, the range of variables we have is non-verbal gestures, verbal, face-to-face, two-way radio, speaking to groups, using telephone, written, and internet. So, Let's come now to the methodologies. So the methodologies is under the section 3 of the training regulation of our qualification, which is the Food and Beverage Services NC2 superseded, which is under the methodologies. We have the group discussion, role playing, and brainstorming. And same with the assessment methods, we have the observation and interviews. So yun po lahat. And sa activity po namin, lahat po ng LO o lahat po ng basic competencies, yun po yung ginawa po namin na kinuha lang po namin siya sa training regulation po namin under po for our qualification, which is the Food and Beverage Services NC3. So that's all po for our presentations. Again, we are from Group 1 and I am Josephine Rose Alvara. Thank you very much po, sir. Have a good day ahead.